Welcome back. I want to extend the conversation on our sister from Buffalo, New York, India Walton, and I want to bring in a friend of the show. She's a channel contributor, public defender, and all around dope sister, Sister OLAY. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you?
It's just ridiculous on so many levels. So Walton won the primary. He paints her like, oh, this radical socialist. And first of all, he doesn't define socialism, but in any event, if he's trying to make it this big scare, it's like, oh, so she wants to help the people of Buffalo. She wants to give them more control of the means of production and money and resources, and she believes that, they're citying them. So scary. I think it's interesting the fact that because he is a black man doing this to another black woman, it's not being portrayed the way it would be if he were a white conservative or a Republican doing it, but he's behaving in the same manner.
That's the science. That's the science to it. And that's the malicious, that's the insidiousness of it. That's the word I was looking for, because he is behaving and carrying himself towards this black woman in the same exact way white supremacy would. He is literally doing it in the same fashion that Donald Trump would, with the same
absolutely
big
empty fear mongering. Exactly. Like, oh, this radical socialist, she wants socialism and we're fighting for democracy. And I'm like, first of all, the woman is a democratic socialist. That's one. Second of all, define it. Let us know what the huge problem is with that. Because all you're saying, he keeps calling her a radical socialist. I'm like, the woman's platform is she wants police officers not to be responding to mental health things. She doesn't believe police officers should be responding to traffic issues. She thinks that they should be putting the money into the community and helping people. She thinks that they should be getting more training. She wants more money put into education. She wants civilian oversight of the police. The woman has a platform, actual substantive things that the people of Buffalo decided that they want to see too. But instead, he's not going to talk about that. He's just going to get up on the screen and holler. And if it weren't who he was, we would be talking about it in an entirely different way. And I also think that's irresponsible on the media's part. I think the fact that they're engaging him as though this is real or something to be taken seriously is just as dangerous as the foolishness we see on the right, because they're like, oh, I've seen several news coverages going, it's going to come down to it's between Mayor Brown and India Wild. No. We had a primary. No. The woman already won. That's done. Yes. That's done. There's no come down to nothing. This is just a man on a tirade because for whatever reason, he's convinced himself that he is the all-powerful permanent mayor of Buffalo. It's confusing to me. I'm like, what exactly is the issue? You've been given more than enough opportunity. So, unreal.
Period.
It's unreal.
Period. Like, so this is the thing. This is the rub. Like, no, we're not going to allow these institutions to use this black man to harm this black woman who's fighting on behalf of the liberation of all people, especially and including black people. We're not going to let y'all play the game that you normally play here, because what they normally play here is silence. You're not going to hear anybody like Jim Clyburn come in and tell this guy to stand down. You're not going to hear anyone in the mainstream media talk about how this is truly Buffalo's own big lie. No, you know why? Because the systems are so used to doing this to black people, and they've mastered the art of using black people to do this to black people. And this is what Mayor Byron Brown is doing.
They love talking points. They love all of their same problematic talking points when it comes out of our mouth, because then it becomes like, Derek Bell talks about this, like rules of racial standing, right? Like something when black people act against the interests of the black community, white people will take that one black person to legitimize this obviously problematic position that doesn't benefit us as a community, to pretend like it's legitimate. And that's what's happening here. This man is just going out, recycling regular Republican, conservative, problematic talking points that are based in white supremacy, directing it at this black woman, and here is, white media covering it as though it's legitimate and it's fair, and not acknowledging that angle of it because they get away with it because the man is black was doing it, which is a shame. And I think that's why it's incumbent upon us as black people and in our community to hold him responsible and to make sure to call him out on that, because it's ridiculous. Absolutely. There's no need for it. He needs to concede, go sit down somewhere, retire, go enjoy your time. You done been mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we're calling on. We're calling on Mayor Brown to stand down. Hashtag stand down Mayor Brown, because I think he, no, it is up to the black community, because we can't depend on white folks to handle this one for us. We got to handle this one in house. Mayor Brown,
Exactly.
the black delegation would like to have a word with you. Stand down, Mayor Brown. Or we could change it to sat down if we need to. Hashtag sat down, Mayor Brown.
Whatever he needs to hear.
Whatever language you need it in, we can speak it, brother. Good morning, Rebecca. It's a wild morning for everybody.
I actually wanted to jump in on when you guys were talking about the Buffalo mayor, and how the mayor who has held that seat for a minute is giving her a lot of pressure. And trying to have her stand down. But Ben, you're telling him to stand down. Mayor Brown, stand down. I think that's so cheesy, but funny. It's good. Yeah. It's good. It's good.
Oh, well, it's in response to it's in response to him in his little speech. He said, "Write down, Mayor Brown." I said, "Okay, champ, stand down, Mayor Brown." You want to play this game of semantics and words. We got you on this one, brother.
Yeah, slogans work, but
sloganeering,
right? Sloganeering. But he, it's like it's one of those things, and it be your own people. We discuss this all the time. It be your own people. I remember us covering her winning, and it was what caught me by surprise was that he didn't even want to debate her. He didn't even want to have the conversation. He didn't think that she was worthy of it. Like he thought that he was going to get this seat once again. Like it's something promised to him. But when he lost it, now he's looking for every option to break her down. And that to me is ridiculous. Move out the way so that somebody else can do what needs to be done, so that we can see what it would look like to have the first Black woman in that space. So I don't know why he's in her way.
But she's a socialist. It should be like
power.
Yeah.
Because power. I think we see it so often, and we don't call politicians enough on it, that they just do things because they want to be in a position of power. It's really no different than Andrew Yang just bouncing around all around the country trying to figure out what he could win. You know what I mean? They don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. It's not a genuine desire to help the community. It's just, here is an opportunity for me to be in a position of power and let me get it. And in his case, he already had it. And so he extra feels entitled to it. And he thinks it's just supposed to be for a forever thing. So he doesn't really care it's not about India Walton. It's about, whoever it is. He doesn't think that they are worthy. He's supposed to occupy the space. The only difference is because it is India Walton, because it is this Black woman, because it is this person, he's able to attack her in a different way and, paint it as something else. Oh, even when he was like, in his little rant, he was like, oh, the people of Buffalo have spoken and they don't want an inexperienced. I was like, the people of Buffalo that voted for her? Those are the people that have spoken and said they don't want her? He's like, oh, they don't want this inexperienced. I'm like, I'm sorry, who would be more experienced than the man that's been sitting here occupying the space for 4 terms and they done told you they don't want you go somewhere. You want that's just how they are. I think it's just entitlement. That's what I was saying to Ben earlier to me about getting caught up in this white man's game of, here is the seat. This is mine. I deserve to occupy it. It belongs to me. And I think he's forgotten it does not belong to you. And I think that's what the people of Buffalo get, that India Walton does get. It belongs to the people. They make the decision. And that's what she wants to see happen. She wants to give the power that you have given to yourself and corporations and all the other people that you have in your pocket and your camp. She wants that to be given to the people of Buffalo, and they want the same. And he doesn't want to accept that.
Yeah. And it's funny because you said something key there. Like, the seat ain't for you. Listen, when you take the seat, you're representing the people and the voices of the people. And these, the people who have been embedded their booties in this seat, they literally feel like, since I've been here for so long, it should automatically be given to me. This woman is inexperienced, so she doesn't deserve. But it's like, well, the people have spoken, like you said. They ain't say they ain't want her. Clearly, they want her because of the results, right, of the race. And now... the voting is very important, and the people came out and voted a totally different way than what he expected. And I think that the more that he pushes her, the more she's gonna push back. And this is the thing about these Black women, especially nowadays. Like, there's no she's not going to stand down to him, and she's going to keep on pushing. And then when people find out about that her story is so much more relatable, you like, that's going to be something where the people be like, oh, nah, she was a whole nurse. I'm a nurse. She got kids. I got kids. She's fighting for something.
Right.
I'm fighting for something. So, yeah.
All they do, people so often, so many times, they create the adversary that they most fear, you know? If you think, first of all, she beat you without you even having her name in your mouth. You know what I mean? She beat you then without the attention. So now she's already beat you. And now you want to be on this campaign talking about her. And all you're doing is drawing more attention to her and her excellent platform, like you said. I'm like, this is a woman who, you know, gave birth to her twins and then went back and decided to be a nurse in the exact same place where her twin boys were in the NICU. And survived, and she does that work. And you're only drawing attention to all the community work she's doing because you say something like radical socialist in the year 2021, and what I hear is, oh, let me hear this lady want to help somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you have a community of lackluster people standing behind you. Nobody behind him was looking like the Beehive. You know, no one looked like they are his. He looked like these were some people outside and like, listen, we'll give you $5 if you stand right behind me right quick for the speech. That's what it looked like. And I'm like, sir, you should go out respectfully. You know what I mean? Like just go out on high.
They don't do that.
Like,
they just don't do that.
What I said was, Olay, they look like that. Those were his voters. If you look at that, they're older, much older, senior citizen community. And of course, you got Kellyanne Conway that was on the other side of him too. It's like these white Republicans, like he's just like, okay, let me just go ahead and get this little bit of these white folks up here because these are people that vote for me because y'all just you playing that part, Uncle Tom.
Right. And it's a terrible, honestly, it's a terrible selling point because I'm like, who are you? Like, I would love to know, who is your audience, right? Who is the audience? Because the voters have already voted, right? And who are you speaking to? Because if you are a Black man standing up, you know, criticizing a Black woman and surrounded by you are, you know, confused looking white people and, you know, some older Black people, I'm like, who are you selling this to? I'm just like, it's unclear. Yes. I'm like, I can't be your target audience here because you are not convincing me. I feel distrustful off rip. You know, when I saw the video, I'm like, this man is a Democrat because this is serving me strong Republican energy.
It's giving. It's giving very conservative. It's giving like you know, them old heads that literally feel like everything be dropped into their lab. They don't know how to work for social media. They got somebody doing all the work for them. They have not. There's no innovation. They're stuck in the same old. That's what it's giving me. And that's why he doesn't want India Walton. That's why he doesn't want her at all because he knows it's going to be fresh. It's going to be new, and it's going to be. And even her campaign itself worked itself out through social media because a lot of people didn't know who she was before she won, and until she put out her information on social media, it got to the hands of somebody. We let that thing go viral. It was like a Black woman. Oh no, Black woman won. Like it became something big because this is what we want to see, and we want to see relatability. We want to get people who actually understand the struggle, who can feel, who can understand, who can be right down in the trenches with us, and we want to actually see her benefit and come up from that. You know,
an actual member of the community.
Yes, an actual person who understands, like, hey, yo, what it feels like to have, like you said, kids in the NICU, to understand what it feels like to live paycheck to paycheck, to understand what it feels like to maybe possibly not get medical attention that she needs, even though she's a nurse, right? So all of that goes into play, and she's thinking about the people, and that's what I like to hear, even what she stands for. If you go and check out her website and what she stands for, and then you go to his is very general, and hers is very specific to the people.
And his just talks money.
That's it.
It just talks money and the people he's in bed. And I'm like, you're only really just proving the point, right? Like you have a whole website and thing, and it's really just talking about the corporations and the developers and the whoever you embed with. But what about the people? And that's the difference between their platforms. But I think the reality is his own discussion is very telling on how he feels and what he wants, because the man, he doesn't say write in Byron Brown, he says write in Mayor Brown. Like, it's very clear he has infused this with his identity. He thinks that he is the permanent mayor. This is his spot, and how dare anybody challenge him for it?
Sounds very Trump. Sounds very, very Trump-like. And that's that and that whole sickness, it, you know, like I said, it's embedded into these people, especially the white men. But then, you know, there's levels to this. The black woman is at the bottom, so the respect that she's gonna get is gonna be like literally at the bottom of the totem pole. That black man believes that he deserves. He's not gonna look at, oh my goodness, I'm gonna pass the baton to another black person. Not only that, a black woman who will be the first.
He's not interested in that. There are a lot of people that are like that. I've experienced that. I feel like from college and up, you know, there's always an opportunity. I feel like, I don't know if y'all could hear that, but those are my cats being terrorists. But they're the worst in the background. I'm like, Lord, there's always an opportunity where you have to navigate white spaces, right? And you can make a determination like, how do I get in? Where can I fit in? And do I do for me or do I do for what's best for the community? And I think a lot of times you see people like this, like he's figured out, he's a Democrat, he's on the side of, you know, he's figured out how to navigate this space to make it work for him. And he's decided, okay, it's okay for me to thrive. I'm the one black person that I'm fine with thriving in this spot. I should occupy these positions of power, but he doesn't have the same interest in bringing anybody else up, you know? So he's not in that game. He has no interest in passing the baton because that's not what he signed up for, what he agreed on. What he agreed to do was find a space for himself and to hold on to it with all he's got. And that's what he's trying to do. He doesn't care what she's trying to do. He doesn't care what the community has decided because it's not about them. It's about, Mayor Brown, have decided I'm mayor. And I'm going to keep being mayor. Think about it. To refuse to debate a woman and then lose and then get up, refuse to concede and say, you know what? I'm going to do a write-in campaign. That's a deep, deep, deep level of entitlement, shock, denial. And I wish I could have been in the house. Like, you knew he threw a tantrum, right? You know he threw over a table. He couldn't believe it.
Yes. Yes, he did. Listen, Rebecca, you said how black women are at the bottom of the totem. I'm thinking of Kanye West on that line, but I digress. More importantly, I'm thinking of Malcolm X there when he said the most disrespected person on this planet is a black woman. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, that's the righteous indignation that I think black America needs to speak to Mayor Byron Brown, who has decided that he thinks the thing to do is to, instead of lifting up our young sister and showing her how she can succeed, this brother want to stop her from getting in the door.
Right.
That might be what white supremacy do, but that ain't what we do as black folks. You got to get out of here with this mess. So we're going to
somebody got to tell him ain't nothing wrong with grace. There's nothing wrong with grace. The community will embrace you. And it's not like, you know, he's a one-term mayor and this was his, you know, second term he was looking for that he really needed. And she really like, you know, this isn't a reflection on him. The man's already been mayor four times. He could have his term and whatever his legacy and his respect, whatever that is that he believes is his credit, his due, his history. He could have all of that. And that could be completely untainted, unchanged by this woman winning. Instead, what he could have done, and I hope he, you know, goes and looks in the mirror, has a conversation with a therapist and a PR person and decides to pivot. But what he could have done is say, you know what? I, as a black mayor, I was mayor for this amount of time and look at the change I ushered in. And now here I am passing the torch. I've made it possible for a black woman to come in. You know what I mean? He could have done this. He could have, you know, put himself in a mentorship position. He could have offered to, you know what I mean, show this woman the ropes. He could have gone about this in a way in which he could have embraced her. He could have embraced the community. He could have continued to have a thriving career in whatever like respect and leadership position he wanted. But instead, he decided to get up on TV and behave like a white man. And I don't know what he's thinking. And someone needs to talk to him. I don't know where his wife, his friends, his sister. I don't know. Somebody has to talk to him about it. But
well, I'm calling his office again today. I called his office yesterday. I'm calling his office again today, and I'm gonna call his office every day until he stands down, because you're not gonna do this to a young black sister who is dynamic, who is fighting on behalf of the people, and who has broken through. My brother, you have to understand what it takes to break through being black and poor in America.
And you know what makes it better, I think, makes her stronger? He doesn't have any criticisms for her. He has nothing substantive to criticize. He's not levied one criticism of her. His entire argument is the woman is a socialist, which that's not a criticism. That's like saying, oh, Aliyah is black. I've identified. We're aware. She's already said she's a democratic socialist. That's exactly the platform we like and people voted for. So what's your point? Are you trying to say it would be better if he came up there and said, "Oh, she's not really a socialist. That's just talk." But he can't even say that. So what he's saying is the woman is who she says she is, and we like it.
Sister OLAY, thank you so much for coming and sharing and just helping us speak truth to power on this issue. I'm not going to let it go, so I'm gonna reach out to you, and we're gonna keep putting pressure on this brother. Thanks so much for joining us.
I got you.
Thanks, OLAY.